So, good afternoon. It is tournament season. Welcome to the main, maybe all dungeons, but we're gonna hope it's not in this case, but we get starting boots and a sword tournament on the ladder. How's it going, Kicks? Are you
That
ready
was
to
that was
watch
a
these
lot.
guys?
That was a lot of words to say. This is casual boots.
Well, of course, I mean, it's casual boots. It's like one of the best modes, and it's
It,
on ladders, so we're all pretty happy. And we've got
it's true.
two pretty good people. What do you say?
I know we have thalane representing the lane,
The
and then
lane
we
with only
have
one E this time, by the way,
only
because
one E this time, and then Smile, who is actually Ganon's Gone Wild GGW.
I feel are they? Do you think they're like trading messages from their file names because the lane's file name's actually Smile, right? And I don't know what do you think GGW couldn't find an E, or do you think it's like it's like a representation of all the fallen E's that the lane has lost over the course of tournament matches?
I would imagine it's an ode to all of the fallen E's. But yeah, casual boots. This is if you've not seen casual boots before, it's casual and it's boots.
Yeah, and of course with the it's. I think we see so many casual boots. We get a sword start. That's also one of the most important parts. With you get a boot start. There's a lot of good things about boots as well. It's probably one of the more popularly debated topics. I think within the rando community. But sometimes like even if you get starting boots, you really want that sword. Even though you can't really see the sword sticking out in this particular case, while they dash to Uncle, you know it's there.
Yeah, and GGW apparently believes that he's going to get a flute in this game because his flute is already marked.
Interesting. Okay. Well, speaking of, we're going to get a map check immediately from thalane.
Yep.
That is a very standard, typical thing that we've seen him do. I think it was all 3 crystals in the light world, but we're going to get our lovely auto tracker to basically do all the work for us. So we just have to look down and we don't have to click any buttons.
Yep, it was just 3 regular crystals in the light world, which means we will have 3 pendants in the dark world, as well as 2 red crystals to keep an eye out, which means the dark world map check is going to be like 2 minutes long, because that's a lot of information to take.
That is actually very correct. Yeah. Normally, you don't actually want to waste. So there's some, like if you want to try and get a sub 5 escape, right? You don't want to typically waste like 3 seconds of a map check. But actually, you know what? This particular one, I think probably only wasted like I don't know, like 1.5 seconds, right? As you said, all the bulk of the time is gonna be spent.
Yep. Of course, you could always just be like me and just not map check ever, and then just go in like it's like, oh, I can complete a dungeon. We're going right in.
I actually remember that, and I think when what was it? Like I think it was maybe when you first it was taking a ramp down from cross keys or something. You were playing I think some regular mode, either as casual boost or like 80 keys or something. I don't think I've ever sent you to a map check. I was like, I don't know. It might be a little important. I guess we'll see. But you can't argue with results. If you're still gonna win, like.
So sometimes you need to have a little bit of fun when you're playing, and it's like, all right, what can I do that's kind of silly? Oh, I can just never map check, and then you are like, all right, I can sequence break ice. This is fine. It was like, oh, it's a pendant, darn. And then you get your flippers in
exactly.
and then flippers are in Ganon's Tower, and you're like, oh well. That didn't go well at all.
Minor details.
Minor details.
Yeah.
We should talk a little bit about this tournament, by the way, because this is what we're in the last group of 4, I believe.
Yep. Yeah. So this group of 4. So this is actually the last 2 games. Actually, both happening today. One's right now. And one's going to be in 5 hours, GGW versus Orange, right? The other 2 members of the group, of course, from thalane and Ninjembro. How the tournament has at least has gone so far is that Ninjembro has advanced. He took a 3-0 result in this group, so he actually has bested thalane, GGW, and Orange. So he has basically a surefire lock to the finals. Now, so regarding the results here for thalane, GGW, and Orange is, I believe Orange is out of contention, and if thalane wins this match, he will advance to the finals. If he loses this match, and assuming he does not forfeit, GGW will need to win his last match over Orange in order to advance. So a lot of things, so it's like kind of a lot of things on the line, right? So GW basically needs to win twice in order to win, and then thalane just needs to win once.
Okay,
but I guess we're gonna see.
Yeah, I was like, so this is kind of like the important one to kind of get out of the way first.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, yeah. So I mean, so I guess for better or for worse, so if the lane does win, we do not have to play GW and Orange do not have to play in 5 hours.
Yep.
But of course that's less random content. I don't know, if it is tournament season, maybe they're okay with not playing yet another match. So
you do mention it being tournament season, and you're right. I mean, the main tournament's going on. This is going on. There's an All Dungeons Key Sanity tournament going. Like, it's approaching summer, which means it's time to ramp up all the ALTTPR content that we could possibly throw at.
Oh yeah, and I believe GW and thalane are both in AD keys as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just don't know if GW has played his week.
Thalane needs to not
hopefully not die and escape. That would be a little bit of a minor setback if we both mentally and physically.
It's true. I mean, we talk so much about like, oh yeah, the escape sequence is just kind of like, oh, we need to figure out what we're going to talk about for the next few minutes. Well, Thalane's giving us a little bit of things to talk about currently.
Yeah, see, and this is also kind of the things that you see that when suddenly you're somewhat taken out of your comfort zone in that you are on like one hit KO, you kind of start to see Thalane's movements. While it's still I think he's just basically being more conservative, right? Kind of as a result, he may end up taking things a bit more less risky, right? Because like you saw that he probably could have made the dash in order to kill a key rat, but he was too afraid that he was gonna get hit along the way, right? So then he stopped his dash early, and so these little things are gonna kind of like add up.
Definitely playing cautiously. So a 509-ish for GGW out of escape, pretty good time.
Yeah, and of course they did pick up the map, so that is a guaranteed item in Sanctuary. I will say, for what it's worth, I think even if there was a map remaining in Sanctuary, I have never seen GW not open that chest.
I mean,
I've seen thalane skip that chest if he is counted.
Shout out to you for recognizing that we had picked up the map at some point, because I didn't pay attention to that.
I think we picked it up in the Dark Cross chest, because I was really hoping that was going to be a hard piece, and then as we had
something to help the lane a little bit.
Yeah, but unfortunately it was not. So
that's okay. So GGW's gonna go up and check the lumberjack item. I mean, this is fairly common because with boots and a sword already, the chances of there being something here, I think, are a little bit greater because you are already partially towards.
Yeah, you're almost like halfway to Aga. Yeah. I mean, right, you need like a lamp, and then you either need, a cape or another sword, right? And then suddenly, Aga's, well, I mean, Aga's certainly very much on the table. It doesn't always have to be, but
we got a lot of rupees so far this seed early. I mean, the lane's already up to 430. He did do the tree pull and got the 80.
Yeah, speaking of, so I don't actually know if that's a good. GW's gonna check right now. I guess if there's a good bee in that bottle, but we are gonna be able to take a trip to Sick Kid as well. So certainly very convenient to go. But yeah, this is a very commonly seen route in casual boost. Basically, the first 10 minutes-ish worth of content is going to be, out of escape, go check Lumberjack, do Lost Woods, and then explore out the rest of Kakariko and hope you get a bit more direction, or we're just going to go continue on to like South Shore. Yeah, especially as you mentioned, we already have a lot of money on our hands, so very, very possible in order to go get Zora money here on out.
Yeah, I suspect we'll probably be done with Zora money, or we will have Zora money after this. And I mean, having the early bottle is nice because you can combo in Sick Kid, so you're not leaving that check behind.
Exactly. Yeah.
We did get a cape though.
Suddenly, are your wizard senses tingling?
Yes. So suddenly, I feel like we should just go straight to. No, we're not going straight to Aga.
Dark Aga, purely Dark Aga. I would love to see this.
Purely Dark Aga. Let's save and quit right now out of Blind's Hut, and just say Aga.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of South Shore can be pretty empty. I mean, like for all we know, like let's just say Zora has a lamp or something, right? Why go all the way out there in order to go get it when you could just save and quit to Aga?
Precisely. Hey, look, flippers.
Hey, look, okay. Well, good thing we're gonna probably, as you said, get enough Zora money. They don't have to Houlihan, so.
And that is a good bee, so we can sell that bee for 100 rupees.
Yeah, so I think they're definitely gonna look pretty good in pretty good shape, right? Like the rest of Kakariko, plus they go to South Shore. There's like Mini Moldorm.
Yep.
we've already gotten over 500 at this point, so...
Yeah, I was like, GGW is already there, and he didn't even tree pull, so... Although he does need to buy bombs, so he might actually drop a little bit below the threshold. But, I mean, like you said, with South Shore, you know, I've got no doubt GGW will hit the 500 again.
Yeah, so I am kind of curious just to see what happens, I guess, with these two runners. So, you know, so it's always kind of like the temporal locality, like your last maybe couple races maybe weigh a little bit more heavily on your mind. I don't know if necessarily GGW would maybe do anything different regarding his normal playstyle versus the lane. In his match against Ninjimbro, among some of the things that happened was that he was also down a sword. Counter to Ninjimbro, he ended up on Master Sword versus Ninjimbro's Tempered, and the sword I think that he skipped was in the dam. So I'm kind of curious to see if he would also skip the dam this time around.
I mean, it's not uncommon to like for a runner to split up South Shore to kind of do
for sure,
dam
for
into
sure.
Agina and then over Mini Moldorm Cave into Ice Rod Cave. So like that's not, I don't want to call that unreasonable. It might be a little unreasonable that he never went back to it, but I think early on I don't think it really matters.
Oh yeah. No, it just kind of happens to be like that. Well, maybe it'll motivate him to check the dam. I think the lane in general though will be just very happy to see another sword. I don't know if he ended up catching his last main tournament match.
We're just bringing up bad memories.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? There's a flute. You know what? That's a really happy discovery. All right, we're gonna go get that flute that we saw in Maze Race right now, and then we're never gonna have to come back to Kakariko. At least for any more errands.
Yeah, I mean maybe Magic Bat, but that's
yeah.
With the flute, it's all easy now.
Yeah, actually, speaking of, it looks like actually Thalane went to go check race game blind. Is that right? I didn't remember seeing him scouting it.
Yeah, he definitely checked it blind, and he also didn't pick up the second bottle. So
okay, so that's where basically the time difference was. Yeah.
I was gonna say those little micro saves right there have added up. Although he looks like he's gonna pick up the bottle right now.
All right, well here we go.
After deliberation, he has decided that he wants this bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also is very reasonable because he probably saw it as like, I'm not gonna go pick it up because I don't want to come back here, and then now we're gonna just run back to go activate the flute. So he's like, well, if it's on the way,
yeah,
I can definitely see that.
And now he'll use it and immediately save time in Mini Moldorm Cave by using that Ether Medallion to take out all the Mini Moldorms.
By the way, did the lane 5 bombs? I must have missed this.
Yes, both runners bought bombs. Also, please get in your channel points now. A Big Dunka special. How many required items in Skull Woods?
We're not even there yet. All right. Well, let me take a look at the answers here.
You only have 2 options. You can either predict there will be no required items in Skull Woods, or there will be one or two.
I have logged my answer.
I have as well. I will happily take the 16,200 points. When...
Oh man, I think honestly with these kind of odds though, like even if you believe that there is no progression in Skull Woods, like man, it's like the odds are, like the payout is so good,
Precisely.
It's really pretty big tempting.
Now everyone keep betting that there's gonna be nothing in Skull Woods. I want more channel points.
Yeah. Well, also, by the way, as you mentioned before, and GGW also did a map check. So both runners know that there are 3 crystals in the light world. Ooh, there's a hook shot, by the way. Nice scouting for the lane. Yeah, I was gonna say though, like you mentioned before, we're missing 3 pendants. Skull Woods actually could be a pendant. We may never have to go there. Just saying.
In which case, my 1,000 channel points will be sad.
You know what? You can earn other channel points while kicks. It might be a worthwhile sacrifice, for the greater good. Just so you know.
It's true. So kind of talking to your point a little bit earlier, like GGW actually did do the dam this time. Although I think having that flute kind of gave him reason to even go over there. I think without the flute, he probably skips dam for initial purposes. The lane has skipped it entirely right now. He went straight over to Ice Rod Cave. And then water walked and is doing these checks with the flippers.
Yeah.
Although neither runner has actually found anything of value, both in the dam, Mini Moldorm Cave, Ice Rod Cave, and now these Zora area checks have all shown empty.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Yeah, a small piece of heart on Zora himself. Yeah, 20 rupees. Gonna curious to see what GTW decides to do here in terms of is he gonna scout the island? Is he gonna go to Hobo? Looks like we are at least gonna get an island check, so that knowledge will be available to both the lane and GTW. So at least no knowledge advantage there.
Yeah, and it looks like thalane is gonna make sure that he doesn't also skip Hobo. You know, this is kind of an initial early following the items play a little bit. You know, you have the flippers in Sphere 1. You're like, why do we do it?
Yeah, speaking of, right? So why so these flippers certainly have led to nothing so far, which
Yeah,
I guess maybe you know, as you said, if we're gonna follow some items, maybe that will maybe more heavily weigh towards some more waterlogged dungeons, or at least you know, logically.
I mean, they're definitely gonna lead to something eventually because we know where the hookshot is.
Oh, true. That is very true.
So like they do lead to something. It just not a Sphere 1 to Sphere 2.
Actually, are you? Do you happen to know if GW can hover, or at least he's confident enough in his like Moldrum 2 bounce if he bounces?
I know GGW can hover. I don't know his confidence in hovering when it comes to like an actual like tournament race setting, so I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Yeah, because, you know, I was actually just thinking, so, like, again, you know, we have 3
It,
pendants in the light world, right? What if Swamp
it's
Palace is a pendant, you know? Suddenly...
it's not gonna matter because you do need at least one of the mirror or the hookshot to even get over to East Death Mountain, and thus get access to Ganon's Tower. And since
okay.
one
You know,
will, and since one will lead to the other.
See, this is the big brain wall commentary.
I mean,
that is great reminders.
The other option that we don't talk about is that you can, you know, like what fairy revive hover over to East Death Mountain as your only trip
you know,
over there and be like, I don't even need to worry about the mountain at all. I'm just going to GT.
Did you see what the prize was for Waterfall Fairy? And both the lane and GW have 2 whole bottles.
I know.
I'm ready. I'm ready for
you're ready. You're ready.
I'm ready for this basically not to happen. But you know, I think it would be pretty cool if it did.
So I think very quickly we're down to Eastern Palace. I think collectively we have seen just about everything. Although we do have logically 1 check on the mountain.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not even the old man, just because you know we don't have that lamp again. Otherwise, we might be rushing Akka. Given how many other things we basically have already seen between the 2 runners, right? You know, Ethylene also just check Agina. In this particular case, also was healed just 100 rupees. So, I don't think we've seen Saha yet. Is that correct?
No, Thalane rushed over to Saha.
Oh, okay. So I guess maybe it's just Eastern. Is that?
Yep. Logically is Eastern and the Spec Rock check.
Which GGW looks like at least he's up the mountain. He is gonna go rescue Old Man, see if he gets anything good, and then I guess we're gonna go see maybe what's on Spec Rock and then what's inside Spec Rock Cave.
Look at these runners avoiding Eastern like the champs they are.
Man, wall kicks, you know, this is right. Sometimes I'm just saying, like, desperate, you know, like when you're absolutely desperate for progression. By the way, you saw at the lane, actually exactly what you predicted. He used ether to save some time in the older cave. That's actually quite nice.
Here, have more money. This is a money-rich seed early on.
Yeah. I mean, Zora didn't have any. I mean, not that money actually factors into the logic stuff, but at least, I mean, you're right. They don't have to worry about money for the rest of the season, but so far their financial investments have not really paid off. Hey, look, there's a bow.
Man, who wants to go into Eastern Palace right now?
Yeah. Oh, there's
a hammer.
There's a hammer. Okay, well, suddenly, oh my gosh, we still can't get anywhere. Oh, man, imagine in this case if like the bow is not the bow, the mirror is Eastern, and then.
I mean, that's all we have left at this point. You know, it's obviously much more likely we're gonna find the Moon Pearl, but if the bow, or if dang it, the mirror is an Eastern, then yeah, that'd be pretty amusing.
All right, though it looks like that GGW is going to be the first one to our hammer. He is right. He has not done Agina over the lane. Maybe that's why it explains a little bit of the time difference, just over some other like minor stuff.
No, I thought GGW did Agina as well.
Oh, did he do Agina as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
The difference at this point is the Sahasrahla play, and then you know obviously Thalane had a little bit longer of a trek in an escape because of his near death.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the
No,
time difference is
okay,
coming
yeah, I
from.
think you're right. Yeah, just because I think like the rupee counts also kind of look pretty consistent with your analysis as well. So.
Yep, they're exactly 80 rupees apart, which is just
exactly exactly how it was when they first started. Yeah, one tree pole's worth of difference basically.
Yep. Thalane's gonna save a little bit of time here by blind checking this, which makes sense considering, like, you know, if you're coming up here, you already know logically there's not a whole lot left.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think blind checking that was a bad play.
And yeah, and Thalane's actually gonna be able to get into Eastern just a little bit faster with the glove, just because you know when we flew to spot 5, he's gonna be able to lift the rock and then you know go the right way. The right side way, not the correct way.
Well, I mean, when you flew back to the house,
4. Okay, we're just off by 1 air. You know what's a flute spot? You know among friends.
but the bird picked you up, and then you're like, wait a minute, I gotta go back
Yeah,
home real quick. And then you're like, wait a minute, no, take me back, take me to the
no,
correct place.
I left my stove on. I need to go.
I left my stove on.
Yeah, I guess like one kind of nice thing about the right side is that you don't have to deal with that pesky guard as well. Oh, look at the lane using that hammer and dashing the first screen to Eastern. Always love to see it.
Are we gonna dash the third screen with the cape? Looks like it.
Yeah, Thalane. Oh my gosh, he got some good RNG with cannonballs too.
You don't need to worry about RNG when you have a cape.
Yeah, actually, kind of looks like a difference for. Oh, there's the. So that's a really great value. Sorry, item in Eastern. I'm not sure if it unlocks anything, but you're always really happy to see it.
Oh yeah. We'll never say no to a cane.
Especially for Thalane. He has a propensity to dive Ice Palace as soon as possible, and you know, it never feels really great if you don't have the King Samari with you. So.
I did not know that he is a big fan of Ice Palace.
Oh, the Thalane is he and Ice Palace are very great friends. Look, hey,
well,
look,
okay, so you leave, right? You know where the bow is. Well, no, you get the check right here, duh.
Yeah.
But then you leave, right?
I think so, yeah, because one, it's not logic. It's also gonna be. Yeah, so I guess we have the rest of the mountain with the hammer and the mirror, right?
Yep.
Thalane
is just gone.
Oh wow!
Dang,
doesn't even worry about the big chest, which is like a screen.
That was
away.
the fastest recognition of I have a mirror, I can leave and go get this bow that I've like ever seen.
Yeah, that is man. See, Thalane looks like he might be trying to maybe make up a little bit of time here and there. It's like just for example, so he can spend it dashing off of that minor ledge. Ooh, talking about here's our 2-minute Dark World map check.
we're gonna be here a while.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So coincidentally, Skull Woods is not a pendant. I just see it was a 5 crystal.
Yep. Ice Palace being our other crystal. Right, and then we have green pendants somewhere.
Turtle Rock. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And
then pendant pod and pendant swamp.
So I'm also noticing, by the way, on Thalane's tracker.
I was gonna say, although Thalane might need to double check his tracker here.
Here we go. I hope it's just like a mismark of the tracker, and he like has it in his head, as opposed to he accidentally clicked 2 things. And sometimes, especially with with a lot of things, on one screen, it's very easy to accidentally click one thing over. Yeah, we're gonna really hope that he knows that Skullblitz is a crystal, not a pendant. So Thalane, among some of his previous ladder matches as well, he has been known to go to GT without having all 7 crystals. We're really gonna hope that it's not gonna be a repeat occurrence this time around.
I mean, having said that, I would not be surprised if Swamp Palace does have something for us. I mean, because we will have, once we get Dark World access, everything we need to clear Swamp. Nice lamp. Yeah. Is it time for Aga?
Is it time? Right. Where's our Moon Pearl? Is it just gonna be on Pyramid?
No, our Moon Pearl is gonna be on Armos Knights.
Oh, no, that does make sense. Yeah. man, that skull wood swamp palace is gonna really bother me.
I would say,
Oh
yeah.
my
I mean,
gosh,
it's.
I don't know, dude. Like, okay, we're just gonna hope. We're just gonna hope for the for the best. Oh, you know what? Oh, speaking of the best, look at that
Look, a master sword.
beautiful master sword. The
You know what? You know what's in logic? Agate. No, I'm just kidding.
It is. Oh man. No, okay. So you're gonna go back and do Eastern, presumably, right? Because now everything's in logic. Sorry, clearing at Eastern Palace is gonna be in logic. So, or I don't know. I mean, what happens if like the Pearl is just on Pyramid? I guess that's the other place after Eastern that you would go.
Well, I mean, with the lamp, we can't actually go back into Tower of Hera because the big key is vanilla, so we can do that.
Oh,
which is what
yeah,
GGW is headed off to, and it looks like thalane is kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah, actually, kind of interesting that he decides to, I guess, like take the mountain trip up. I'm not sure. Like, do you have a sense maybe which is faster? Like, he's gonna run back over to Hera versus.
I mean, I think we're I think we're getting a live demonstration of what's going to be faster.
I think Thalane's going to get into Hera first. All right, well then.
Yeah, all right. So I think in this instance, Thalane's route was slightly faster.
Yeah, as Thalane gets basically into Hera first.
With a half-second lead, that's insurmountable. Look, at this point, until Thalane proves to me that he knows his actual pendants and crystals, I shudder to sit. I'm not gonna sit here and say who's in the lead.
Did you also know, by the way, that Thalane, you know, so Thalane has been involved actually in this whole tournament, like in qualifiers and brackets. He has been involved in 2 races that are tied. So one was during actual qualifiers where he he tied with Jem.
That's actually insane.
Yeah, and then it was game 1 against Telethar where nobody actually thought that they would tie given how much further along Thalane was basically in the race. But you know, sometimes the difference of a Master Sword Ganon fight versus a Gold Sword Ganon fight actually really does make a difference. Suddenly. Yeah, so yeah, 0.5 seconds actually can actually be quite notable. Speaking of notable, I do like the NMG strats that Thalane is basically doing. I mean, obviously his Master Sword ends, you know, and blue mail and a bunch of health and stuff, but you know, very accomplished NMG runner, basically kind of doing the rooms, you know, as you would expect.
So I don't think we've picked up an item yet, so I think these last 2 are the items.
We got a Sank Heart, perfect, going into Moldar. So no have to worry about or thinking about picking up any extra hearts, you know, in the pots. All we have to do now is just worry about not falling. Thalane thinking about bumper skip, but looks like he's just gonna.
He definitely recognized that he was a little bit too low when he first tried to dash and had the panic. Oh God! Stop the dash. GW though did get it. That was a risky, like, not moving.
Nice Master Sword / Hammer combo on Thalane's side. Don't have to worry about Moldorm. He's taking it a little bit slower, more cautiously. And hey, look, there is our Pearl. Who wants to go back to Eastern?
A moon. Well, I mean, both runners want to go back to Eastern. The awkward thing now with Eastern Palace is that I think it's to the point where it's a 50-50 whether the item is going to be in the vanilla big key chest or the boss. So you kind of have to take that risk a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Do you spend the minute or so to get to the big key chest? Oh, Thalane with the double check.
Oh my gosh!
All right.
Do you see the skull? I have never been so relieved to see the skull was being marked as a crystal. Oh man.
We have correctly marked our pendants and crystals.
Okay, all right. The 0.5 second insurmountable lead is now on the table again.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, actually, yeah. So you bring up kind of an interesting point. So, I think at least by reputation, maybe also by some recent, you know, empirical observations of GGW, I do think he tends to be a bit more aggressive is I don't know how aggressive he is in terms of what his stance is for the vanilla Vicky chess. Thalane, on the other hand, at least his past performances for ladder has been pretty thorough. Like he has done many things. I haven't really seen him skip vanilla Vicky chess, so it certainly could be a point of variation.
Okay,
and as you said, it's like a whole minute, right? That's like 20 times higher than like 5 seconds.
that is in fact 20 times higher. Although no, that's actually more like 12 times higher than 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. See, my math is not the best.
It's okay. It's okay.
I got 1 digit correct, right?
We're not getting paid to do math here.
We're not getting paid.
We're not getting paid. Period. But you know.
I was gonna say, do you think we could maybe steal like some of the rupees that these guys have been picking up? Like, I think they need an accountant at this point, right?
I would hope so. So let's see. GGW did pick up a couple of things in Hype Cave, including a Fire Rod and Quake medallion. On the other hand, Thalane got a shovel from Chess Game.
Chess Game, thank you. I was thinking of the shovel.
Shovel does in fact offer.
Yes. A shovel can buy you many peanuts. Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
Alright, yeah, but that it does actually make a good amount of sense starting Hype Cave for GGW because he did actually quite remember that there is a hook shot on floating islands, and so very certainly, I mean, you know, whether or not we actually are going to need it, you know, empirically or like pragmatically, it's a really nice pickup.
So Clear Mouse.
Yes, Walker.
Given our pendants, we are potentially Mitts for Go mode.
Are we really?
Yes.
Holy cow. You're correct. So we don't have knowledge, I think, about specifically the Meyer Battalion, but yeah, like assuming we can get into Meyer, I think you're right.
My my channel points are crying a little bit.
It's okay. GGW is here, and we're gonna see basically what this prediction pays out.
So I think if you pick up the Mitts at this point, like especially if you're GGW, you just go straight to the Meyer area and just, you know.
Yeah, basically just see what if you're missing anything.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but actually, on the other hand, though, as you said, this is Mitts for Go mode. Well, the fact that we are actually locked out of Turtle Rock, Meyer, you know, Ice Palace, you know, the Mitts being here, you know, in Skullbless isn't necessarily like that, you know, low. Although we just see 3 bombs, so
chances are high.
We got 1 more opportunity.
I believe in my channel points.
I think GGW is also feeling pretty lucky. He has 777 rupees. Always a good number to have.
That's pretty impressive. I do find it interesting that like there seems to be a decent amount of times that you find yourself with like 777 rupees or like 420. Like I do find it that it is a little bit odd like that. But hey, you know, rando do be like that sometimes.
Yeah, especially in this case when they had so many, like they had so many random amounts of, you know, different denominations of rupees, basically just flying at them to like kind of end on something like this.
GW's got to be a little bit worrisome, although I think he still has that fairy, so and
yeah,
Moth is playing pretty kind.
Yeah, he also does have a green potion, I think, right? That he picked up.
Yes. And I don't think he used it. That is powder on the lane side.
That is powder. So that's going to be something that we can actually go do. I'm going to assume in this case that the lane's going to go from Village of Outcasts south to like Dig Game Stumpy. Maybe Hype Cave, I guess. Versus like north.
I agree with that. GW has decided that the chests in the back of Skullwoods doesn't exist.
Does he know something about key logic, or is he literally just saying like I'm just going to forget about that chest? Is there enough information or something to guarantee that's a small key?
I don't think so. I mean, there's a good chance that it is a small key, considering we've already picked up 1 item. We know the boss can't have a small key.
Okay. All right. Okay. Looks like we've actually got some, additional confirmation. Yeah. In chat.
All right, he is done with Skull
Okay.
Woods.
Well, we're gonna.
Who needs this second item?
Oh yeah. All right.
So
Wow.
this kind of goes into you talking earlier about how GGW has been is aggressive, like which tells me that he recognizes that he is as little as one item for go mode.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point as well. I hope in this. Okay, for what it's worth, he did check the big chest because he obviously had the big key. But what partially burned Thalane also though was in his match against Magnet there was a sword in Skullwood's big chest. So.
Ouch.
Yeah. Alright, it looks like though, so GW made a quick check to Graveyard Ledge, or not Graveyard Ledge, a Buffer Cave. With the cape and with the mirror, at least there wasn't anything there, but it seems he's gonna basically follow up and finish his next crystal dungeon. Oh, actually, this is gonna be pretty efficient also for the lane as well, because he got the shovel that we just saw GW pick up from Chess Game as well, so he's gonna probably go south and do dig game and check the dig spots. Along with K45.
There's a lot of combo. This is, like you said, good, thorough, efficient routing. It's a little uncertain. Obviously we as commentators are looking at it and are like, oh, we're one item from go mode. So like right now, maybe being thorough and efficient isn't the correct play because again, we know that we are as little as bits for go mode. The lane obviously doesn't know that yet, but the more thorough a runner is in a situation where you're looking at a potential jet seed, the likelier it is that when you pick up that go mode, you're like, oh, I might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. Right, and especially from from the lane's current item inventory, he's also still. I mean, he's not one item from go mode. Like he knows where hookshot is, but he also significantly fire run. I mean, so he's probably more incentivized to be more thorough, just because he's missing more than one item.
Yep. I think what it's gonna come down to at this point is it's likely that our mitts are in one of our pendant dungeons, either pendant pod or pendant swamp, and it's just gonna be which one do you pick?
Yeah. It is randomizer, right? It more often, I mean, very, very commonly, what is it, end an ice rod hunt or like flip a coin to hope you pick out the right pendants. I mean, these things are gonna happen. I kind of hope that in this case it'll be somewhat of a closer race than, someone ends up going to the right pendant dungeon.
Right.
But again, like there are still a lot of locations out there, right? Maybe they'll both get, based on their routing decision, maybe they'll both get funneled in, right, to, a similar pendant dungeon, and then it'll be, it'll basically be like a battle of execution.
Yeah, and I mean, and as you mentioned, there are other areas that we still haven't explored. Obviously, we still have some of North Darkwood, including Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. The Pyramid is open to not Pyramid Ferry, but the Pyramid Ledge is open to us. Catfish, like there are still some outside checks that aren't in dungeons yet that could still have the boots, or not the boots, excuse me, the mitts. But it's also hard to maybe justify going to those when you have, dungeons that can be complete. I don't know. This is going to be one where like I do unfortunately think this is going to come down to which runner correctly guesses the right pendant dungeon. And for our sake, I hope they both pick the correct one.
Right. Yeah. And for what it's worth, there's also still bombos kind of like looming out there, right? So just because we pick up miss, we are gonna, as you mentioned before, probably gonna go see both runners kind of beeline over to the Mire area to at least check out what's actually needed. But still, like once that bombos medallion kind of pops up, like mitts are very much locked behind a lot of things, right? Like there are going to be a lot of locations where this can't be, but there are a lot of locations where the bombos can be. So
yes, definitely.
I was actually kind of hoping that we get a channel point payout, like soon.
Well, we can't yet because there's still a second item in Woods. My hopes and dreams are still alive.
So actually, I wanted to ask about this prediction because it was like a 0 or 1 to 2. So what happens? Well, I guess if it's Pyramid Fairy, there's like an additional out, right, for the prediction. Like if Bombos is back there and we need it from Iron.
Yeah, that would kind of be the only thing. but I think we would learn pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Thalane, by the way, is going to go up to the pyramid and
Yeah,
probably finish this route out with Catfish.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Right, and so, the lane also is, I'm not even really sure if there are, quote-unquote, like, more normal, standard, common routes. The lane has certainly been known to visit more out of the way locations than maybe on a, I don't know, quote-unquote, like, more standard router.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, going to Pyramid isn't that, it's certainly one of the least visited checks. Catfish is probably even farther out, but,
Yeah, like
I
I would definitely agree that like, Thalane is obviously someone who's been around the community a very long time, kind of same with TGW.
We're not gonna go. So right, there's
Well,
nothing in Catfish.
no, Thalane is just doing
Is North Dark World stuff. Yeah, because he
yeah.
keeps with Fire Rod too, right? So it's actually pretty convenient. Again, like I would say pretty efficient, thorough routing. He's gonna get all of North Dark World. Basically take his time into Skull Woods. So.
What I'm thinking he's gonna do is once he does Great Red King Tomb, then he'll jump back in and head over to Catfish.
Oh, and then he can save and quit and go back to
Yeah,
Skull Woods. Is that?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. At least that's my thought. But kind of what I was going about earlier, with Elaine being, one of the longer community members, and GGW's been around for a while as well. But, I feel like the community members who have kind of been around longer are the ones that you see who are more thorough in a race situation. I definitely feel like some of the newer runners that we've been seeing, in the main tournament now and, tournaments, in the ladder are a little bit more, risk takers. They're okay with jumping into a pendant dungeon even if there may be a completable crystal. They're okay with skipping sections of areas, just to kind of try to gain an advantage over someone like Thalane, who they know is a very good execution person but is also very thorough.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I think it was maybe like a recent, I don't know, interview or something. I think with one of the post things with the Airy said that he sometimes like with as you mentioned some of the people who've been around much, he has a much better sense of, I guess, how to play them 1v1, but it's like
Mhm.
playing against some of the like the new guard, I guess. It's just like I have no idea how to play against this one, right? And because you really don't know in this case what they're comfortable with doing. And so it certainly does make in a big qualifier, that kind of mentality is a bit more mitigated, but in a in a 1v1 match, right, as we're seeing here, it's significantly harder.
Yep, and we are now seeing kind of this divergence right here.
We are leaving our portal. Very interesting.
Was this a quick check of
Oh, Magic
Bat?
Okay,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
does make sense. But yeah, actually, it looks like though GGW finishing up with his Crystal Dungeon. So we finished Hera. So I guess actually maybe he doesn't want to go to Eastern immediately. Maybe he'll go over Eastern after this.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, he's definitely setting up for a swamp play. Like that much is obvious. The swamp play is ready to go. So it's clear that between pod and swamp, he has chosen swamp.
Yeah, I guess maybe he also is thinking about delaying pod, in combination. Basically, he'll do swamp now, and then he'll do pod Eastern together.
Looks like he's holding off right away.
Yeah. All right.
So I think if you're committing to swamp before pod, you're also going to be committing to left side. Although I don't know if you do the back first.
Yeah, swamp definitely has a lot of variations in terms of what areas of swamp you would like to explore. As you mentioned, there is left side. That is certainly a very major point of contention. There's also the back. This is a pendant, so it's not like, well, I guess we don't have a pedestal check or anything like that, but I mean, like you're probably gonna pick up the pendant regardless. But then also, yeah, what happens to this item on Argus? I guess we're gonna see in this case. Thalane, though, on the other hand, he is definitely gonna go see what is in this bridge chest of Skullwoods.
Yep, I mean we are still missing one item, and it could still definitely be right here.
Yeah, I think the only thing we saw on the front was the map. It is 10 arrows. That is our second item in Skullwoods.
So yeah, totally required. Give me my points.
Well, we don't know necessarily yet about Pyramid Fairy. I'm just saying, right? That is still an out. If Bombos is required, then it could still be Pyramid Fairy.
Big
Oh, that
sim.
doesn't count? Donka. Really?
So something to note is that did thalane check Vanilla Beaky chest and get the second item?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that was his first check. Yeah.
I was about to say, I was like, wow, both runners are just like skipping an item there, but no. And it looks like both runners have chosen Swamp Palace. So
Yeah,
if this is
very
the
interesting.
if this is the answer, then the race is still going to stay close.
Yeah. So look, yeah, it looks like GW is maybe about what, like half a front of Swamp, or maybe just half a Swamp ahead of Lane, because Lane still has to get into Swamp.
Yep.
But again, as you mentioned, there is a good amount of variation source here for what people want to do. Looks like GW is gonna go straight over to the back. I don't. Yeah. So no.
We did get 2 items so far,
Okay.
so there is incentive to kind of hold off on left side right now.
Okay, well, silvers are kind of nice, especially if we're gonna be stuck on Master Sword for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, I don't think in this scenario you're going to say no to silvers. I don't think that's quite what both runners have in mind for this dungeon.
Ooh, talk about being aggressive. So
that was 4 items.
and GGW is gone. Like, wow.
I am impressed with the aggressiveness. I wonder if maybe the thought of GGW's first race in this group against Ninjembro is kind of weighing on him a little bit, because I think that one Ninjembro had like a 101.
Yeah, that one was ridiculously fast. I didn't see, I think, at least like the beginning or like the middle parts of the race, but it definitely it didn't seem like GW was that far behind. But yes, like, given that he was not as, I don't know, maybe he thought he was too thorough, like, in that race as well, right? And again, like, in terms of tournament stakes, GGW needs to win this race in order to stay alive. So
Right.
yeah, I certainly would not necessarily be surprised if that was part of his competitive meta right now.
But yeah, he is right off to Pendant Pod right now. He's basically just saying, I'm going to go to where the bulk of the items, where the bulk of the checks are, and just kind of hope for the best. And just do them as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So.
And right, he's gonna also have an opportunity again to like finish at Eastern Palace. I guess, given maybe what we've seen so far from GGW, that he did skip basically the entirety of Skull Woods minus the Vanilla Vicky chest and Mothula and the big chest. We saw him leave Swamp Palace after 4 items, no left side, no boss. He was probably going to skip the Vanilla Vicky chest.
Yeah, I mean,
just based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I agree entirely. But the more you skip, the more you leave yourself to think, oh crap, this is going wrong, as the mitts continue to not show up. But I mean, that's the risk you take when you want to play this aggressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you feel again, you're just kind of amplifying in this case the range, right? So when your risks pay off, you feel great, right? Because you're suddenly now basically dropping down again in like the hour mark, right? And you're just like, man, all my distance really paid off. And then when you're still looking for mitts, another sword, something, right? Like, suddenly you're just like, which of my terrible locations have I isolated am I going to go back to first, right? And then that is a really terrible thing.
Yep. Alright, that is Argus down on the lane side. He is rewarded with the big key.
Right, with the big key, so I'm gonna guess that he's gonna go back in with that. Right, as seen on both tracks, well, at least Lane's track, there are 2 items back there, so...
Now we're getting kind of the bulk of pod.
I'm kind of curious to see if the lane will like do the entirety of left side. Like, let's just say there's an item in the big chest. Would you just leave?
Man, I don't know. Oh, there's the mitts.
There are mitts. Okay.
All right,
so GW's done with pod. We are
in 2/3 go mode.
Mm-hmm.
GW is going to go ahead and just take out Eastern right here. I don't mind that play at all because you're right here. So yeah, if you're rooting for Thalane at this point, I think you're kind of hoping Bombos is hero on left side, and it's Bombos to get into Mire.
Yeah, we did find another item. It is the other boomerang. So I guess both boomerangs here are in Swamp Palace today.
Great.
Yeah, so there is one item over here, and I guess it's not gonna make much of a difference between whether it's on the left side of left side swamp versus the right side. But yeah, it is. Yes, it has to be exactly my Bombos to get into Mire, and then has to be basically here. So. Or I mean, or it could be something that leads to Mire, leads to Bombos, right? Like it could be like a book, for example, right, or something like that. But yeah, I think we definitely need at this point Mire to be the medallion.
I mean, even if it's a
Bombos
book,
would be my
it's a hard. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. The lane's almost there.
Yeah.
I wonder who's gonna get to the chest first. Probably the lane in this case. I was gonna say because we're actually kind of seeing the amount of time investment it takes to get to the left side, and GW is like already basically 2 Armos at this point, right? Just a couple screens away.
Right.
Oh no. Well, we're gonna see in this case what left side has for us, and it is just a heart piece. So the decisions so far that GW has made have actually been pretty. I mean, have definitely paid off so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Even skipping the vanilla Blicky Jazz, we got the last item off of Armos Knights. Like, man, GW is So we're gonna beeline over to Mire, and then we're gonna see what our entry is.
Yep. So I think overall, if you're GGW, you're probably feeling okay. Because even the Swamp Dip, he didn't he didn't go all the way.
Yeah, he left basically. Again, like we kind of saw in this case how much extra time Thalane spent in Swamp Palace, right? I mean, not all of us. Again, GW was very aggressive in skipping this. But but we kind of just see in this case like the time difference, right? Was that probably like 3 minutes or something, right? At least.
Right.
Yeah, you have to go beat Argus. That was definitely some time that we had to basically go all the way to left side.
And as we can see, Mire was Quake, so GW is in full go mode.
Yeah. I mean, and so I think maybe the only thing that GW would maybe like to see, on his path would be Tempered Sword. I mean, he obviously doesn't need it, neither does Thalane in this case. And I certainly do remember other races that he's done before in casual boots where I don't even think he's gone out of the way for, quote unquote, out of the way, like checks, like basically for Tempered. Like he won't check like upper GT, he won't check like the Premortem chest, like anything that's not directly necessary on his path, he will not open.
So yeah, I think we can kind of talk about what was the big thing that kind of allowed GGW to lead, and I think you were exactly right. It's his aggressiveness, which you hit on, kind of before we started seeing it. I think GGW's overall just kind of playing for his tournament life, so to speak, it's kind of paid off here.
Yeah. This particular case that he has, and as you observed, he basically went after density. Like he chose Swamp Palace. At least if there were presumably there were 6 items available for us in Swamp. He left after 4, because they were the most convenient ones basically to get right. Fortunate, for better or for worse, in order to get them so early. And then he basically beelined to Pod, which was of course our next most dense dungeon location. Oh, the lane. Unfortunately, it just got a little too close to the pit. I think, it doesn't feel close enough. Oh my gosh, that beetle almost knocked him off.
That beetle almost said, "You're coming to my view, are you?"
Oh, looks like the lane's gonna... Oh, he does the big key. Okay, so he's going to hammer Yelp first, I guess?
Yep, he's got the spare key.
Oh, okay, okay, and yeah, okay. This is also pendant too, so I don't think he's
Yeah.
going to necessarily worry about this.
I mean, I think this is overall just decent routing of this dungeon, given the fact that he had this extra key. So it's you know, we know that it is unfortunately the incorrect play, just because we know where the mitts are.
Right, exactly.
But for Thalane, this is exactly how you would want to route this dungeon.
Yeah, and you also saw like he had the mirror ready to go. You know.
Yeah, he's,
It's unfortunate, but yeah, he's gonna get rewarded here very shortly.
he's just the consistent
Yeah,
swapping to the
yeah.
mirror.
Like,
He is
ready
ready
to
to leave.
Meanwhile, though, GW at this point, E is already basically onto Vitreous. He, with Silver Arrows, obviously from Swamp Palace, helped out a ton. And yeah, the big key was in the compass chest, so I'm actually not sure if there's a lot of variance, I guess, in order to get to that particular location, versus maybe like some of the other routes that you would take. Like, I know that people tend to wait, I guess, on the vanilla big key chest, depending, but I'm gonna assume that the lanes will take a very similar route in Mire.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's going to be any variance there, so there's not going to be an opportunity for time gain or loss. GGW, though, I was going to check out Mire Shed, hoping for... Oh, no, we're doing Desert. Duh. Just kidding. I was thinking all we had left was Ice, but no, we have Desert as well.
Yeah, and I guess like for what it's worth, like so Desert, kind of depending on where that big key is, you might end up full clearing the dungeon regardless. Desert also kind of can also be like, here is the small key in order on the torch for you to go to the right side in order to go get the big key, so you can basically go back over to the left side. Or sometimes we'll just see like a big key on the torch, right? And then you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go to the boss. So GW might have a little bit of opportunity in order to get a tougher sword as well.
Yeah,
But,
I think in this scenario, well, there's the first time. I was gonna say, I think if you're GGW in this scenario, like your first opportunity, like the moment you pick up, you see that big key, you're gone. You don't worry about.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, honestly, even if the big key shows up here, like GGW is not even gonna bother to open up the other chests.
But he will be forced to, and this will again be another situation where there's not going to be really any time for Thalane to catch up, because he's just going to have to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Got some nice vanilla items. Oh wow, what a hook speed.
That is such a risky thing to do.
Yeah. Well, again, GW looks pretty aggressive in terms of both, routing decisions and execution. He did take the left loop, I guess, of the hook speed, but still, it's...
Alright, crystal number 4 for Thalane.
I guess depending on where the GT big key is in GT, I can certainly see the collection rates being like on the lower side of a casual boots race.
Yeah, and realistically, they're going to be like near identical.
Yeah. The lanes are gonna definitely have a couple of extra checks. Like he'll have Argus and left side swamp over GGW, but I mean, yeah,
along with
these are
Pyramid and.
I think like Graveyard Ledge or something, maybe Kings too. Yeah, but it's gonna be very close.
Yep. Look, here's a full magic for you, waiting to when you get inside.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's gone. Oh.
No.
Just kidding.
That cutscene, man.
The tease. Alright, Crystal 6 for GGW. And we are headed to Ice Palace, which we will just straight go mode.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if GW will actually go check out the vanilla big key chest. It is pretty close, but again, like I think he's just gonna go.
Yeah, I think I'll just go as well.
Yeah, there are a couple of chests in Ice Palace that are just slightly out of the way, like not directly on the path, and the vanilla big key chest is one, and then there is also like the map chest where you kind of have to like hammer down. You have to hammer down the first set of pegs in order to go get the small key, and then you can like press a switch. But yeah, I can't really see him do that. Like
right. He might open the chest across the spike pits though.
True. There are technically 2 swords out there, right? That we haven't seen.
Yep. Remembering that he needs to hit the switch.
Yes.
Because that is something that I forget to do a lot.
At least you were, like, if you can remember early, obviously that's the best time to remember. But yeah, it's kind of a rude awakening to get all the way to the bottom, and you're just like,
You're like,
I wish I done something earlier. Yeah.
I have made mistakes, and look, GGW skipping the vanilla Vicky
Yeah.
chest.
Yeah, he is skipping the hammer chest as well. Let's see,
I watch him skip this chest just to spite me. Okay, he did not.
I think you have a good read on GGW.
Well, I mean, you do too. Don't get me wrong. Like,
I have actually seen, so obviously, like you mentioned before, thalane and GW have both kind of been around for quite some time. So I have watched many a rando race in my time. GGW has certainly been pretty consistently aggressive.
Yeah.
Nice spooky on blade side, being able to see the dash one, and then so he's almost basically 2 Vitreous, and then he is going to, he has Vitreous to kill, to beat basically all of Desert Palace, and then all of the rest of Ice Palace. I guess we're quite curious to see if he decides to want to go open some extra things for Tempered.
I doubt it at this point. I think thalane probably feels a little bit worse about his seed than I think GGW would have, because he full cleared Swamp Palace, as well as doing Pyramid and Graveyard Ledge Cafe, or Graveyard Ledge Kings too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I think thalane recognizes that he's probably, at best he is even, at worst he's behind. That is 7 crystals, though, for GGW. We are headed to Ganon's Tower. Something 2,500 checks in Ganon's Tower. Pick a number between 3,600 and 5,249. And one of those will be a Ganon's Tower Biggie. Looks like GGW taking the way from Super Bunny Cave. Probably will check these 2 checks to see if he can't nab a quick tempered sword. No tempered sword, but does get the lovely second shield. And I believe, from what thalane showed us, that is actually knowledge of all 3 shields. GGW, though, saying no to Hookshot Cave makes sense. We're just trying to go fast at this point. thalane, meanwhile, now in the back of desert. I want to believe GGW is actually kind of like increased his lead a little bit on thalane, but I've also not been focused too much on the timing aspect of that. I think both runners have done very well execution-wise. All right, GGW heading left first, probably doing the Stalfos room. Just kidding. We're going to be done right here. We're going to pick up this big key with the lovely check number 1. We're going to pick up this small key right here, and we're going to say, I'm climbing. Quick silver arrows from thalane. That is land mow down. GW using the damage boost, excuse me, to get past the cannonballs. Pretty typical, pretty regular strat you see in that room. I think GW, you know, knows that he's in a pretty good position. You know, obviously in his mind he's like, oh, my opponent could have chosen Pod over Swamp first, but I think the majority of runners in this scenario would have picked Swamp, given the location of the hookshot. You want to think, okay, maybe the hookshot is what'll lead us to our mids, but just wasn't the case in this heat. Some nice movement there on GGW side. Off to land mode 2 while thalane works his way through Ice Palace, also hitting switch. Good job on both owners' parts.
I could also see by the fact that GW is still swinging something blue means that we have not found a temper sword.
Yeah, we didn't have to go very far in GT to find the big key.
Ah, okay, that also makes a lot of sense.
We've done exactly one check in GT so far.
Man, talk about. Well, you know, it's a 1 in 22 chance. It could have been anywhere, but yeah,
it's
kind
true.
of nice. Yeah, to be able to see. Well, I mean, GW again, like he played the seed. Certainly quite aggressively. You know, as we've kind of seen, he made you know, some decisions that certainly isolated a good number of checks. But again, you know, if there's nothing there, there's nothing to worry about at the end.
He does not care about these chests at all. His eyes are on the prize, and that prize is Ganon, who actually isn't in this tower at all.
Yeah,
but, you know.
Somehow. Well, you know, we gotta get through. What?
I don't know. I don't know anything.
Well, you know,
anymore.
we just got a couple more, you know, extra buckaroos to take with us. It's okay.
Look, the seed didn't give us enough money.
I understand. Yes. In this kind of economy, like, you would just never say no to more money. So. Thalane actually pretty needs to use that half magic that he ended up picking up in the basement of Pod, or in Dark Maze, right?
Yeah, Dark
Yeah.
Maze. So, Master Sword Silvers for GGW. Thalane probably gonna, you know, if Thalane even gets that far, would probably be on the same.
Yeah, right. And I'm actually gonna. I actually don't really know the scenario in terms of tiebreakers if Thalane does forfeit, but you know, at least in this tournament format, the time differential between your, I guess, like loss for your versus your opponent will actually does matter.
Okay, so
like,
there is incentive to finish this out regardless.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think if Thalane doesn't forfeit, I mean, assuming he doesn't take an extra hour or something in order to finish the seat, I think he should have the tiebreaker. But if he does forfeit, I'm not as confident as to basically what the result is.
Gotcha.
But for sure, like if Orange wins over GW tonight, then I guess that's when it will come into play. But otherwise, if GW just wins straight up, then you know none of this would matter.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like Dunka is confirming that he needs Orange to win tonight.
All right, there we go. Looks like GGW is about to pull out the Kane strats.
Yeah, certainly maybe not gonna be as. I mean, so he has to be more conscious of his magic, right? But he also does have a green potion, so I'm gonna assume that he is just not gonna care as much. Thalane, though, on the other hand, again, this is kind of like a difference in terms of style, right? You actually kind of see Thalane checking a couple of extra things along his path.
Well, admittedly, GGW did do those 2 checks as well.
Oh, did he really? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Pesky Lionels. GGW needs to be the. Oh my god!
Wow, that was impressive. I mean,
What
he
a hook shot!
still has that fairy from the fair.
True.
Ferry, I would imagine.
You're right.
That was a really good hook shot because it genuinely looked like all like 5 bats were all converging on him at that second.
As we mentioned, the first check in GT was our big key, right on the torch. Yeah, so I think even GGW's decision to go into Swamp Palace, right? Like, that is a pendant dungeon. It paid off with some silvers, right? So certainly, I think it was probably even worth it at that point, right? Also staring down Vitreous, like, those were definitely worthwhile silvers to pick up.
Yeah. Although GGW's torches, a little bit off here. These torches are really off.
I see.
I'm worried about this next one's about to go out. Oh my god. We are all right. There we go. We're good. We're good. GG's for GGW.
The GG in GGW stands for GG. Gotcha.
Good.
All right, this is one of 2 wins that GGW needs in order to advance to the finals. Speaking of, we are joined by today's victor, GGW. GG's.
Thanks, GG.
So you played extremely aggressive. You want to talk about that a little bit? You did 1 item in Skullwoods, skipping the second one, which was also in the back of Skullwoods. You left Swamp Palace after just 4 items. So you definitely played, I'd say, more aggressive than I think most runners would play in a regular season.
Yeah, well, I'm probably mids for go mode with like 30 checks available. So if my opponent wants to bet it all on the second item in Skull Woods and left side swamp and Argus, and that's their win condition, then I'm more than happy to take that gamble. So that's kind of the way I look at it in these like clown seeds where you're like mids for go mode at like 30 minutes. So that's just, I feel, the way you have to play if you want to have a good chance of winning.
Yeah, and I mean, it worked out for you. And then I think everything else, overall, I think your play was kind of really superb throughout.
Thanks. Yeah, except for that phase 4 Ganon, I don't know what happened there.
You didn't fall off and you didn't die. That hook shot was amazing, actually.
Yeah, just I knew I had a fairy, so I was like living a little dangerously, but you don't really want to use it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, especially since, like you said, this had all the makings of a jet seed, just a matter of picking the correct pendant dungeon for your go mode mids.
Yeah. Where did Elaine get half magic?
Pod Dark Maze. So his route through Pod, he had he had a big key and a small key when he went to the back, so he bomb jumped.
I see.
And then he was a little bit more thorough. He did get the second item out of Skullwoods. He did do left side swamp. He also did Pyramid, King's Tomb, and Graveyard Ledge.
I see. So, okay, yeah. Yeah.
I think part of that was just you choosing to start at Hype Cave, giving you that fire rod, and essentially at that point putting you mids for go mode.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of let you be more aggressive, knowing that you're just that 1 item. Thalane started his Dark World in Village of Outcasts, so he was just a little bit more thorough in kind of how he chose to go through.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I remembered the hook shot being there, and I just wanted to pick that up, so it was just a good excuse to start at Hype Cave and go pick up the hook shot. Even though it was a pendant, it's still like you kind of want to have the hook shot. So
definitely,
I'm never gonna skip it.
What made you, I guess, choose, Swamp Palace over Pod initially? Just like item density? Is that?
I mean, I like I feel like when you get a lot of items like the hook shot and the flippers and the mirror and all this stuff. I mean, like I guess you could say that it was required to. Well, I don't know. Just the hook shot seemed kind of suspicious. I guess I don't know. It's like why isn't it in GT if it's like not needed or somewhere else at least? I don't know.
No,
And
I agree entirely. Like,
but yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to commit. Like once you get down to like the boss and left side, it's just like I don't know. I do the boss, maybe I get a compass, and then I go left side, and I get like the big key, and then I have to do three minutes for like 2 items, and it's just terrible. So I just wanted to get out of there.
no, that was smart. I mean, you played the seed, I think, as well as anyone could have asked for. So, congrats and GG's.
Yeah, thanks.
You have another match tonight, I believe, because with this, I think now it's a matter of you versus Orange, and I think if you win, you move on to the final.
Yeah, I made the mistake of forfeiting against Njembro. I was like not in the mood to do Master Sword Silverless, and I forgot about all the tiebreaker stuff.
No. Well, I think as Dunk has been explaining, I think at this point it's just a matter of winning you're in, and
Yeah,
if you lose, it's the lane that gets in. So I think in the end that forfeit isn't going to really come into play.
I think I would have not needed to lose by like 45 seconds or something. So,
Gotcha. Well,
but
Thalane
yeah,
now on phase 2 of Ganon.
Are you almost done with your tournament matches, GGW?
for the main tournament.
I mean, in general, I think you've been playing like two matches a day or something like that.
Yeah, I think tonight will be the last match that I have scheduled, thankfully, for a while.
Hooray!
Yeah, it's been a blast scheduling. Honestly, this group scheduled their races like better than I've ever seen any people ever schedule anything. Like we had every race scheduled in like 3 hours.
That's
So
insane.
yeah, shout outs to everyone in this group. Just A+ schedulers.
That is definitely, I heard, one of the most difficult parts of any tournament is not actually the rando, it's the it's the getting something on the schedule.
Yeah. Flame looks like he's trying to splice here, but I don't think it's gonna save him.
Well, we're definitely transitioning from Master Sword Silvers to doing this last few hits silverless. We're also now joined by Thalane. Hello, Thalane. GG's.
Yeah, the lane, GG's.
GG's.
GG.
I appreciated your phase 4 Ganon, in which you did 3 silver arrows and then I think it's 6 Master Sword silverless spins.
Yeah. Was too lazy to menu back to fire rod, so I figured
I
to
think
what was
that's
it, silvers.
fair.
And
Yeah.
I also don't think it really matters for like the end time.
Sure.
I think so long as you didn't forfeit or you didn't take like an extra, I don't know, like 50 minutes
Like
or
our
something playing
yeah.
the seed, yeah, I think you would have been fine. But yeah, I mean, like it looked like your in this case, like we were talking to GTW about this a little bit earlier. Like he was definitely a bit more aggressive than you were, and it kind of really did sound like his just like GTW's decisions really like paid off for him. Not like I think unless you made something like unless you were I guess like just less thorough, it looked very difficult for you to take the win in this position.
Yeah, I also didn't play very strong, like execution-wise, so I figured I have to go into Swamp and hope for mids to be there, because that seemed like very unlikely that he would go into Swamp. But figured, like, turns out he did the same, more or less, so...
Yeah, he went to Swamp before you did actually.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I guess like you both maybe had the similar routing mentality. Was sorry, at least in Dark World and for Pendant Dungeons, like you guys both went to Swamp first, and then you guys went to Pod and Eastern next. Yeah, so
Yeah, I think you were just a little bit more thorough in the overworld. After you had picked up the Fire Rod and Quake in Hype Cave, and then the Hookshot, you continued on a little bit to go into Pyramid, and then Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb, and that kind of gave GGW kind of enough of an edge to kind of pull ahead. And then unfortunately, you kind of stayed in Swamp Palace, which gave GGW a little bit more time, and that compounding all that together, it just unfortunately didn't work out for you.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't mean to ask. So when you did your first Dark World map check, and then you marked Swamp and Skull Woods as like reverse in this case. Like you mark Skull Woods as a pendant and then Swamp as a crystal. Like, and then later on after Hera, you did another map check. Like what made you like? Were you just not sure the first time? Is that what happened? We were very worried, by the way, when we
No,
saw the
no,
map check and what we were.
no. I saw the pendant at Swamp, and then I think I just clicked like the wrong dungeon on the tracker, and then later on I looked at my map and I saw Swamp was like a 5-6. I was like, wasn't that a pendant earlier? Like, am I like drunk or something? So then I rechecked. Like, I was pretty sure it was a pendant. I just wanted to double check and see if I didn't like mess up and just roll with it.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, we were very worried for a while, because if you these were some pretty important distinctions. So
Yeah, it does happen sometimes, but it's been a while for me at least, so that's kind of good.
No, I thought both of you played really well, and GG's to both of you.
Oh yeah, and it looks like actually, well, right. So Lane, you're done with all 3 of your matches, which is, I guess you get you don't get to sit back and relax for too much longer. You have a Doors match, right, in half an hour. Is that right?
Yeah, and right now, basically, I'm just doing this
okay.
interview, and then we just start right away.
Oh, okay.
Oh
all
my
right,
goodness.
Well,
Well, good luck to you on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's tournament season, so. But yeah, I guess then, as I think Duncan mentioned before, in GGW, you have a race in 3.5 hours, something like that.
Yeah,
the last
it's
spot?
8 Eastern, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Best of luck to both you and Orange. So should be pretty popcorn race.
I think I'm good. I don't think I have anything else to say. Again, GG's to both of you. Thanks for letting us do commentary for this.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Always. Well, Kicks. Definitely enjoy the time with you.
Always. And thank you guys for the great race.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. And thank you, of course, Donka, for restreaming everything. Setting up all the auto tracking so we don't have to do anything, just talk. So thank you so much. Yeah, again, 8 Eastern, which is like 3.5 hours from now. It'll be GGW versus Orange. I think Dunka's gonna try and restream it tonight. Yeah, so just come back basically, in 3.5 hours, and then watch the last race of the group matches for Casual Boots. Till then, see you all later.